This is Change Your Mindset Podcast, the podcast that helps change your life by helping change the mindset of the 99% into the 1% mindset. Here's your host, Adrian Gomez.
Welcome back to another podcast episode of Change Your Mindset. As always, I'm your host, Adrian Gomez. I always talk about how your health is crucial. Your health is one of the most important things. Without your health, you're nothing. If you take care of your health will take care of you. And your body will take care of you. Like I said before, your body is like a machine. It's going to need maintenance. It's going to need oil. You're going to have to upgrade it. You're going to have to take care of it. But at the end of the day, that machine will keep working over and over as long as you take care of it. And your body's the same exact way. You have to take care of it. And the way you take care of your body is by obviously working out, doing physical activity, and of course, eating the right food. There's a famous saying, you are what you eat. So if you eat healthy food, you're going to look healthy. If you eat garbage, processed food, you're going to look overweight and look disgusting. So at the end of the day, you are what you eat. Unfortunately, nowadays, the majority of people do not care what they're eating. They don't care about their bodies. They don't care what they're processing. All they care about is how it tastes. If it tastes good, they'll eat more. They will get it again. If it tastes bad, they won't eat it again. But at the end of the day, people have no idea what they're putting into their bodies and how the food they're putting into their bodies is affecting them, especially their mental health, which is a huge problem in the world nowadays. When you go to the market and look at the ingredients, majority of the time you can't even pronounce what most of the ingredients are because it's not real food. It's all chemicals that you put into your body and you're harming yourself. You're killing your own body and you are ruining your mental health. It's the same concept when you go to a fast food place. You literally have no idea what they're putting in your food, but you're still just going to eat it without questioning it. That's the problem nowadays. People don't question anything. They just live a life based on reactions. If you see, when you go to fast food places, they have labels that say, these foods contain chemicals that cause cancer. But that doesn't scare anyone away. They're still going to eat the food. Just like I said, people don't care. They just care about how it tastes. They don't care about how it's going to affect them. I'm going to read you an article by the New York Times. The title is, The Link Between Highly Processed Foods and Brain Health. This article was published on May 4th, 2023 by Sally Wadyaka. So this is the article. Eating packaged foods like cereal and frozen meals has been associated with anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. Scientists are still piecing together why. Roughly 60% of the calories in the average American diet come from highly processed foods. We've known for decades that eating such packaged products, like some breakfast cereals, snack bars, frozen meals, and virtually all packaged sweets, among many others, is linked to unwelcome health outcomes, like an increased risk of diabetes, obesity, and even cancer. But more recent studies point to another major downside to these often delicious, always convenient foods. They appear to have significant impact on our minds too. Research from the past 10 or so years has shown that the more ultra-processed foods a person eats, the higher chances that they feel depressed and anxious. A few studies have suggested a link between eating UPFs and increased risk of cognitive decline. What's so insidious about these foods? And how can you avoid the mental fallout? Scientists are still working on answers, but here's what we know so far. What qualifies as an ultra-processed food? In 2009, Brazilian researchers put food on a 4-part scale, from unprocessed and minimally processed, like fruits, vegetables, rice, and flour, to processed, oils, butter, sugar, dairy products, some canned foods, and smoked meats and fish. And ultra-processed. Ultra-processed include ingredients that are rarely used in homemade recipes, such as high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated oils, protein isolates, and chemical additives like colors, artificial flavors, sweeteners, emulsifiers, and preservatives, said Eurydice Martinez Steele, a researcher in food processing at University of Sao Paulo, Brazil. This classification system is now used widely by nutrition researchers. UPFs make up a majority of the packaged foods you find in the frozen food aisles at grocery stores and on the menu at fast food restaurants. 70% of the packaged foods sold in the United States are considered ultra-processed. They're increasingly edging out healthier foods in people's diets and are widely consumed across socioeconomic groups. Ultra-processed foods are carefully formulated to be palatable and satisfying, that they're almost addictive, said Dr. Eric M. Hetz, an epidemiologist at the Summit College of Medicine at Florida Atlantic University. The problem is that in order to make the products taste better and better, manufacturers make them less and less like real food. So what effect do ultra-processed foods have on mental health? Recent research has demonstrated a link between highly processed foods and low mood. In one 2022 study of over 10,000 adults in the United States, the more UPFs participants ate, the more likely they were to report mild depression or feelings of anxiety. There was a significant increase in mentally unhealthy days for those eating 60% or more of their calories from UPFs. Dr. Hetz, the study's author, said, "This is not proof of causation, but we can say that there seems to be an association." New research has also found a connection between high UPF consumption and cognitive decline. A 2022 study that followed nearly 11,000 Brazilian adults over a decade found a correlation between eating ultra-processed foods and worse cognitive function, the ability to learn, remember, reason, and solve problems. While we have a natural decline in these abilities with age, we saw that this decline accelerated by 28% in people who consume more than 20% of their calories from UPFs, said Natalia Gomes Concavs, a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Sao Paulo Medical School and the lead author of the study. It's possible that eating a healthy diet may offset the detrimental effects of eating ultra-processed foods. The Brazilian researchers found that following a healthy eating regimen like the MIND diet, which is rich in whole grains, green leafy vegetables, legumes, nuts, berries, fish, chicken, and olive oil, greatly reduce the dementia risk associated with consuming ultra-processed foods. Those who followed the MIND diet but still ate UPFs had no association between UPF consumption and cognitive decline. Dr. Goncalves said, adding that researchers still don't know what a safe quantity of UPFs is. Why might ultra-processed foods have this effect? It's unclear. Many high-quality randomized studies have shown the beneficial effect of a nutrient-dense diet on depression. But we still do not fully understand the role of food processing on mental health, said Melissa Lane, a researcher at the Food and Mood Centre at Deakin University in Australia. However, there are some clues. Much of the research has focused on how poor gut health might affect the brain. Diets that are high in ultra-processed foods are typically low in fiber, which is mostly found in plant-based foods like whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Fiber helps feed the good bacteria in the gut. Fiber is also necessary for the production of short-chain fatty acids. the substance produced when it breaks down in the digestive system, and which play an important role in brain function, said Wolfgang Marx, the president of the International Society for Nutritional Psychiatry Research and a senior research fellow at Deakin University. We know that people with depression and other mental disorders have a less diverse composition of gut bacteria and fewer short-chain fatty acids. Chemical additives and UPFs might also have an impact on gut flora. Emerging evidence, mostly from animal studies but also some human data, suggests that isolated nutrients like fructose, additives such as artificial sweeteners like aspartame and saccharin, or emulsifiers like carboxymaltocellulose and polysorbate 80 can negatively influence the gut microbiome. Dr. Mark said, poor gut microbiota diversity, as well as a diet high in sugar, may contribute to chronic inflammation, which has been linked to a host of mental and physical issues. Dr. Lane said, interactions between increased inflammation and the brain are thought to drive the development of depression, she said. It's also worth considering the possibility that the link between highly processed foods and mental health works in both directions. Diet does influence mood, but the reverse is also true, said Dr. Frank Hu, a professor of nutrition and epidemiology at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. When you get stressed, anxious, or depressed, you tend to eat more unhealthy foods, in particular ultra-processed foods that are high in sugar, fat, and chemical additives. So how do you recognize ultra-processed foods? The best way to identify ultra-processed foods is to read product labels. A long list of ingredients, especially one that includes ingredients you would never use in home cooking, are clues that the food is ultra-processed, said Whitney Limson-Meyer, an assistant professor of nutrition at St. Louis University in Missouri, and a spokeswoman for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Chemical names, unpronounceable words, and anything you would be unlikely to find in a kitchen cabinet are often signs a food is in the ultra-processed category. You can still use convenience foods to make cooking easier without resorting to ultra-processed foods. Products such as canned beans, frozen vegetables, pre-cooked brown rice, or canned fish are all shortcut ingredients that fit well within the scope of a healthy diet, provided there aren't any industrial items on the ingredient list. If the added ingredients are ones you would use yourself, like herbs, spices, salt, or cooking oils, Dr. Linsmeyer said, that's an indication that the food, while processed, is not inherently bad for you. And that is the end of the article. People need to understand, your health is the most important thing. And the food you are consuming, these processed foods, is not just affecting your health. It's affecting your mental health. Like I said before, nowadays everybody has anxiety, everyone is depressed, everyone has some type of mental issue. Of course, these processed foods is not the only issue, but it is one cause of people with mental health issues. That's why I said whatever you put inside your body is going to affect you. The average person has no idea. The only thing the average person cares about is if it tastes good. Besides that, they can put all the chemicals, all the ultra-processed food into their bodies if it tastes good. And that's why everyone nowadays is so overweight and obese. Because people just don't care. People are just lazy. They want things done for them. They don't want to work out. They want to educate themselves. They don't want to read the ingredients on what's in their food. They want to care about how many calories they consume a day. People just don't care. But that's the society we live in. And I know that you're listening to this podcast. And I know hopefully you care about your health. You care about the food that you are putting inside your body. And you are making the right choices. Whether If it doesn't taste the best, but you know it's healthy for you, you know what you have to do. You know what you need to do. The question is always, are you willing to do it? You can listen to what I said in this podcast. You can consume all the knowledge, consume everything I just told you, how ultra-processed food causes anxiety, causes mental health problems. But the question is, are you going to change your eating habits? Are you actually going to listen? And now with the knowledge you have, are you going to do something about it? Are you going to take care of yourself? Take care of your body. Take care of your health. That's up to you. I can't force you. Can't tell you to do anything. You have your own self-will. Whether you're going to do it or not, your choice, your decision, your life, your health, your mental health. Choice is yours. What you do with it, up to you. I can only provide you the information. I can only do so much for you. At the end of the day, you have to make that decision. And I hope you make the right one. Because the average person doesn't care. That's why everyone's always sick, everyone's always tired, or everyone's always depressed. There's always some type of issue with somebody. But that's on them. If they want to change their life, like I always say, you have to change your mindset. And in this case, you have to change your food habits on what you consume. And that's going to help you in the long term. And that's going to help your life. And it's going to help your mental health. But it's up to you. You have the information. What you do with it, your choice, your decision. That's going to be it for this podcast episode. As always, I appreciate your guys' time for listening to these episodes. Thank you, as always, Patron member Blade262 for supporting the podcast. It truly does help. If you'd like to be a Patron member, if you got questions, comments, a topic you want me to talk about on the next podcast, or you want me to be your accountability coach, and you can do that by being a Patreon member. The link will be under the description below. As always, please share, subscribe, and like the podcast if you found it beneficial for you. As always, take care of yourself, make smart decisions, and take care of your health. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Change Your Mindset podcast. Be sure to tune in every week for a new episode. As always, change your mindset to change your life.